All right, Andre, video is live. Stand by for audio.
All right.
All right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Live the Fuel show. So today I have the honor of bringing back one of my earlier co-hosts. This gentleman was episode 15 and the founder and the inspiration behind a brand that I've actually had the honor of going out and speaking with at one of their college events. This gentleman and his wife have built such a powerful little organization here in Pennsylvania, impacting adults and youth. And the brand is called You Evolving Now. But if I go far enough back, I know there's a men evolving now, and there's a women evolving now, and there's all these different chapters evolving now. But the reason why I'm bringing Andre back today is because this gentleman has a book coming out. And I've already had one book called Evolve. And now his next book is going to be called 7 Ways to Love. And we're going to dive back into this and catch up because literally he was back on this show in October of 2016. And we're recording this today here in July 17. So it's been a little while. This guy needs to catch up with me. So welcome back to the show, Andre Young.
Oh, thank you so much, Scott, for having me. It's fantastic being here. It's always good seeing you again. And thank you for the opportunity. Love it.
Hey, man, I'm excited, man. You and I always have a good rap whenever we catch up. God, I can't remember. We had like a couple of impromptu meetings just at my secondary or third or fourth offices of Starbucks or whatever you want to call it.
Starbucks business.
Yeah, exactly, man. We get around. You got to be mobile.
Yes.
So we've had some powerful conversations over the past year plus. And then finally had you come on the new podcast back in October. That was episode 15, man. Jeez.
Yeah,
that's like
right when you first said you were starting it and then being able to do it and seeing where you've taken it, absolutely fantastic. I was just saying to you earlier, I love when people share their dream and then do their dream and live their dream and become it. Like, it's so powerful to see. So congratulations to you, my friend.
Oh, and thank you, sir. I mean, honestly, and that's why I honor my co-host, because it's not just me, it's all of us. And like, if I could potentially create just a little bit more exposure on the online space for my co-hosts like you and your brand and everything else you're trying to impact other mankind, or womankind. That's what we're talking about here is like, I'm just creating a new platform. Didn't know exactly where it was going to go. The most important thing was I had to start putting in the reps. We kind of casually chatted about that before I kicked off the recording. And that's why I said, hey man, let's not happen what happens all the other time. Let's just hit record and then we'll catch up and have all this content come flying out.
Yes, exactly.
And this is our first time doing a virtual Zoom call. So
it feels good. I love it.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is what it's all about. I mean, yes, I enjoy us when we sit down physically as men and catch up together. And it's funny I say it that way, but to our listeners, guys, like there's a lot of groups and organizations out there. And I want to do this to kind of rewind back to when Andre and I first met. And there's a lot of powerful support out there for women and a lot of less fortunate groups, communities, ethnicities, etc. There's not enough. They're still trying to grow them, but there's been a lot of momentum behind that. But the interesting thing for me is I felt, and I agreed with Andre, that from the male perspective, right. And I know some of our listeners may or may not agree with what I'm saying here. I was saying, you know what? There's not a lot of support for men out there. And it's interesting how we talk about this. Now, that's why I wanted to kick off the show with you reflecting on this, because how do you get people to understand that? Like, oh, the business world's always been led by strong men, and it's always been a male-dominated society. But great, we have that working to our advantage, if you want to call it that way, but there's so many side effects of that creates disadvantages. Oh. And we don't see the support and the growth. Well, and that's what I was looking forward to having you back on to talk about.
It's so important that we take care of our men and women. And what I found from our college division to our adult division of Men Evolving Now and Women Evolving Now, that the genders typically, anytime you say all or every, you're wrong, but the genders typically want different things at different times of their life. And it's so necessary that there's a place that they are aware of, that they know that they can go, feel comfortable, and evolve. One of the things on our college campuses, the young ladies are so interested in evolving. They want to grow. They're looking to be inspired. They want to live, and they come out. The young men have said to me at 17 years old, which has been funny, oh, I'm good enough already. I'm good. And I laugh, and it's funny. And I did a survey with a bunch of college male students on various campuses, and their thing was, I don't want to be told what to do. And I said, well, it's a good thing.
And that's not what it's all about.
No,
We're not
I said,
trying
yeah.
to do.
And I said, it's a good thing that we don't do that.
Yeah.
But as they become adults, and when you were talking about adult men, our women's division, Women Evolving Now, I have found that so many women come out, and their purpose for coming out, it wasn't the purpose I created it, was that they're looking for relief and release. So many things of the have-tos of the day and everything, and taking care of other people. They wanted to come out, and we have a great restaurant that we're at. And when we had our men division, Deb DeFrida, she's the owner. She heard what we were doing with the men and said, oh, I want to be involved with the women. So with the women's forums once a month, they get a meal cooked for them. They sit down, the forum topics, it's fantastic. Hey, what's your positive? Let's celebrate your positive, kick negativity right out the window. We have a topic of the night, whether it's your proudest moments, best friends, anything, sex, dating, raising sons, whatever it is. Talk about it positively and constructively, and then have a goal and a woman of the night. The men, they hit an age around late 20s, 30s, mid 30s, and we kind of wake up. Okay, wow, I'm ready for more. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to evolve. But a lot of times you don't have anywhere to do it or anyone to do it with. So you just stay friends with who you've been friends with. You continue doing the same thing.
And real quick on that point, you said, oh, I wake up and I'm ready. Then there's people like myself, when you and I talked about this, I was like, I also thought that I would, I was like, I'll just keep muscling through it.
Right.
And it wasn't, my epiphany wasn't, I thought I was ready. It was, holy crap, I don't know everything. And I thought I had everything dialed in.
Right.
And in reality, I've been just ignoring a lot of these different things.
Right.
And as men, we try to do that actually on a regular basis. We got to show strength. We got to show that we've got it all covered.
Right.
And that's what those kids are doing right now at 17. They're just trying to be, they're like, hey man, I just got to step up. Like, yeah, but it's okay, man. You're 17.
And at 17, a lot can go wrong. Like, there are a lot of consequences to making decisions that you make at 17. But at 35, there's a lot to lose when you start to feel unfulfilled. You feel something's missing. You don't know what it is. You keep grinding through. You go to the same job every day. You have the same forces pressing on you every day. And what do you do? And the consequences of losing your family, losing your life, starting over at 35 is a lot different than those consequences at 17. So I just wanted to create a great place where people can go, be, evolve, have a good time, get a You Evolving Now family going, and just kind of enjoy life and start to live the life of their dreams. I've been really big on that. Dreams are what motivate you. And if we have any way that we could impact that, then let's do that.
Well, and let's be real. I mean, last time you and I talked, you are the epitome of the family man. And that's part of your evolution. And I joked around because I'm like, I don't plan on being a family man per se, father guy, but it's like all of a sudden I also joked around how I was like the whole relationship thing was always more casual to me. It was always more, I'll get around to it when I get around to it, and it's not a big deal. I'm strong on my own. And then I'm sure you saw it on social media that I got engaged last month.
Congratulations.
So, yeah. So it's like, I figured you and I would geek out a little bit about that because it's like, holy crap. Everybody was like, Scott did what?
Yeah.
But that's a great example of what we're talking about here. It's about evolution. Like I could not have done this a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago in this relationship. I wasn't ready.
Right.
I needed to keep, I guess, evolving and working my way through it to this point, and then finally own that and be like, all right, man, what are you doing? Right. Like, let's step up, let's get it done. But if I would have tried to say that to myself 3 years ago, and you know me, man, I'm the adrenaline junkie. I'm out there stepping up and getting stuff done all the time.
Right.
But it would have been fair to her or I if I had done that 3 years ago.
Well, it's actually one of the chapters on the back end of my book that I wrote is talking about, the ruts in life and things like that. One of the chapters that I wrote was called Marrying Yourself. If you remember back in the 90s, Dennis Rodman, famous basketball player.
Now North Korean basketball star.
Yeah, but he did something that was thought at the time insane. He 6'8", wore this large white wedding gown, pulled up horse and carriage to this church, and he married himself. And the whole world went crazy. And I sat back and I looked at that and I said, wow, how important is that in this culture, we don't have this defining moment where we become a man or a woman or know ourselves like some other cultures do. We will graduate college or get married later, which is now, the statistic. You don't know yourself. You haven't accepted yourself. You don't know much about yourself, but yet you stand at an altar and hold hands and make vows and give your unknown self to somebody else who doesn't know their self. There is so much value in getting what you did and starting to know yourself, ask questions, purposely and with intent, evolving and learning about you and the world around you and your significant other, and then being able to make that step. So many people are not marrying themselves first.
It's an interesting point about the marrying yourself, because I never put it in that terminology, but I'm 110% behind you, because I joked around years ago that, and even I say joking, I was serious. I was like, listen, and I still say it to this day. I'll be 40 this year, and I'm finally getting my first engagement under my belt, right? And then eventually I will probably get married, even though for years I said there's no way in hell I will ever get married. Okay, I was that guy. But my point is, and you and I talked about the firefighting lifestyle and being remote with other men in the mountains and stuff like that. And we talked a lot about this stuff. I'd be hearing about guys complaining about or concerned about, oh, is his significant other, cheating on him while he's gone firefighting for months at a time? And it made me really connect to what goes on with military and all these other people in these extreme jobs. And that's why it made me feel better about my decision to stay single while I did that, because I couldn't deal with that kind of mental distraction or that mental self-destruction that was going on with some of these guys. But my point on this is that some of these guys were young. Like, I was considered the old guy on the crew. I was 31, 32 when I did that. And these guys are like, 18 to 24, and they're worried about their relationships. And I'm like, yeah, you got a lot to learn. I was like, you're young, man. Like, you might go through one or two more relationships. It's okay. Right. And one of the things I remember telling them, and I still say to this day, is like, listen, if we're supposed to be in, and you could step to this better than I can because you've been doing this longer than I am. You have more of a counseling background than I do. But I was like, listen, the one thing I've learned over the years is I was not going to commit myself into that level of relationship until I knew I was ready. And I said, part of the way of getting ready is to spend time alone also. And to be, like you said, to kind of marrying yourself, but like, hey, man, we need to know who the hell we are, what we're trying to bring to the world. And we may not know all of it at this point in time, but you got to know most of that before you go and try and step into a relationship. And then you're using that other person in the relationship to fulfill you. Right. That's not healthy.
And it's not. I actually just wrote an article about that. I mean, sometimes we have such a hole or such a bottomless pit that we're asking somebody else to fulfill. And that's a full-time job for somebody else. That's not fair. Mm-hmm. So being able to fill your hole, so to speak, and know you, love you, accept you, know your flaws as well, and be able to, bear yourself and say, hey, this is who I am, and this is what I want, this is what I like, is so important. And one of the reasons that inspired our college division, I was in college and I was there to play football. And one of my biggest taglines when I speak to universities is, these students will graduate or fail out, no doubt smarter. With all these books around, they will leave here smarter, but not always better. I was, I graduated college with a baby on the way, a live-in girlfriend, and I not one class about love. Nobody asked me what I thought about marriage or having kids or anything, but I'm there doing it. And, a divorce later and a remarriage, which is wonderful. You learn a lot also with the counseling and different things in my background. And being a part of You Evolving Now, I've just seen so much that I just needed to write the 7 ways to love, because they are the 7 things that prove to make or break relationships. If you do them, it works out pretty well. If you don't, you pay the consequences.
Well, and you kind of hinted there with the counseling background. So we have a lot of newer listeners than we had back in October. So for those listeners who haven't listened to episode 15, let's catch them up a little bit. Like what? Because obviously writing 7 ways to love, you could not have written this 5 years ago or 6 years ago. All right. You were on a journey yourself
Mm-hmm.
You hinted a little bit there about a change of relationship,
Yeah.
family changes, moving into a bigger house. I remember that story as well.
Yeah.
All those things. And so since you and I started getting connected, so to our listeners, I mean, catch them up real quick on that and help them understand, like, the 7 Ways to Love is exciting. I'm glad we're announcing this upcoming book release, later this month, but it's like, okay, what was going on before? Like, where did Andre come from?
Right. Well, I have no problem in telling you. Well, I do have a history, and I have a master's degree in counseling, psych, specialty in marital and family therapy. I was a therapist for 17 years. I did it inpatient, outpatient, in homes and couples. I've been around the block. Crisis counseling, school shootings, that's just a horrific thing. And I wanted to get away from counseling. I really did. I mean, I love the profession, and there's a lot of value in the profession, but it tends to be problem focused, and there's a stigma to it. Most people don't, they go to do something, and when you go to the dentist, when your tooth hurts so bad you can't take it anymore. So by the time somebody comes into therapy, you're always dealing with a problem. And then when people, for my end as the therapist, then when people feel better or get too busy, then they leave. You never see them again, and you're just recycling.
They wait and come back when something's broken again.
Right. So I wanted to create something that was not therapy at all. Is it therapeutic? Sure, but it's not therapy, and it allows positivity all the time. But I was married before and had a house that I built. I had, kids, and I remember cutting the grass one day, Scott. And some people are maybe in this situation. I remember.
Oh, I love this part. Go ahead.
I had a $50,000 car. I'm sitting there like life should be, one of the most dangerous words in the world, should be good. And I remember stopping cold. And I said, wow, is this it? Is this it? And it just wasn't. I didn't know it was missing.
And again, let's pause real quick on this. What he just said to our listeners, guys, like, ask yourself that, is this it? And I'm not asking you guys to do this to have your own breakdown or your own like shocking wake-up call, but maybe sometimes we all need to think about that, those simple little words. Is this it?
Is this it? Like on paper, it looked like I had everything. And at that point, I was a boy in a man's body. I really didn't know how to love. I didn't know how to be. It was kind of all about me at that time. And it was not a good time. Later on down the line is divorce. I lost everything in regards to the stuff. So now I'm sitting in a 2-bedroom apartment with 3 kids, and time was the enemy. A lot of people relocate, especially a lot of men relocate, because the wife or their girlfriend, had family support. So now I'm sitting an hour and a half away from my hometown, friends, family support. And I'm like, oh my God, now I'm in survival mode. I was in have-it-all mode before, and now I'm in survival mode. And I quickly asked myself, oh my goodness, is this it? And I hope not. I ate spaghetti every day for a year. I had $30 to feed my kids every 2 weeks. It was hard. And at that point, I kind of recognized, I said, wow, I'm a good person. There's other good people out there that want to do good, but have nowhere good to be and nothing good to do. And church is a great thing. I did become a saved person, but not everybody goes to church.
No, and for some people, the faith, and actually, I will generalize that state. What you're referring to is church faith and having that behind you.
Right.
But someone like myself, I don't go to church. But one thing I have realized is that the word faith is much bigger than just you go to church every single week.
Absolutely.
This is faith in yourself, in what you're doing, the people around you. There's a bigger picture here. I explain faith like this. It's the first chapter of my book called Getting Your Triangle Right. Mm-hmm. And at the top point of your triangle, I can't tell you how many men and women are different. I can't tell you how many men used to come to me, still come to me, and they have work on the top of that triangle. I don't know what their problem is. I work all the time. That's part of the problem.
Yeah, well, and women would come in typically and say, well, my life revolves around my kids, because that's at the top of their triangle. Mm-hmm. And, you know where they were saying these things, sitting in marriage counseling without their other partner present, with their marriage hanging on by a shred, if not over already. And if that's at the top of your triangle, that's a problem, because those things can go away. Work can go away like that, whether it's an injury, a layoff, or what have you. And kids are supposed to leave. And when they do leave, who are you left with? Somebody you've been neglecting for how long? So
that syndrome of the that phase of life, the empty nest phase of life, right? It's like, to be fair, if you've spent time building the faith and building these other attributes of your life to keep you well-rounded, when that empty nest category comes, it's not as impacting. It's probably still going to impact you, but not as big.
Right. Things can come and go when your faith is right. And what I explain, if you are a faith-based, spiritual, religious person, then that's your faith. As long as it makes you a better all-around person, has a doctrine and teaches you how to live your best life, great. You can go that route. If you're not a spiritual, religious person, that's fine. Your faith becomes, what is your and your partner's life vision together? You know, what is it together? Have you sat down and really talked about what this is? And does this plan make you guys better as individuals, as people, and get you to live the life of your dreams? Then you follow the doctrine of that. But that's at your top, because that will bring you joy. Happiness will go up and down. You have everybody chasing this happiness bug. You're not supposed to be freaking happy all the time. You know,
hell no, man.
To be happy all the time.
That'd be weird.
It'd be weird. Like there, you at a funeral, you all happy. Like, listen, you know, there's value in the other feelings. You know,
there's definitely value in that.
There's value in the other feelings.
You and I talked about that back on episode 15 about us men embracing the vulnerability and showing those, I don't want to call it softer sides, right? Like, hey man, it's all right to be emotional, just not be so broken that you're emotional all the time. But I mean, there's a balance there. Like, you don't want your lady or significant other, depending on your lifestyle, looking at you and be like, wow, you're just a big puddle of mashed potatoes. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely. And there's people, and I've been there myself, where you feel broken. Mm-hmm. And there's so many broken relationships. And I mean your relationship with your significant or intimate other, but also there's so many other roles that you play as an individual, whether it's at work as an employee or a boss or a mother or a father, a sibling. And as you evolving, now we want to focus on all of them. Because so many people feel like, okay, if I'm great at one, I got it. And that's it. And it's not. There's so much more. There's so much more. And we had started a corporate division when I was talking to you about bubbling under the surface.
Yes. For our listeners, guys, like literally right before we hit record, he's just like, I'm like, what have you been up to, man? And he's like, oh, just bubbling under the surface. I'm like, whoa. I was like, hold on. Let's hit record, because I got to get that on recording. I've not heard that term like that. And I was not allowing you to answer it because I wanted to learn with our listeners what this means, because I love the term. I want to hear where you're going with this.
Well, I mean, there's one thing when you have a business. I mean, we have 4 staff, 8 interns, and you guys are, if you're listening, staff and interns, you guys are absolutely amazing. And, at one point you're operating to function your business. But the growth part that happens, especially when you're the leader of it, those are the parts that people don't get to see. So dedicating time to sit back and grow. Okay, where are we going? What are we doing? So over the past year, we started a corporate division that really focused on employees and their lifestyles, because I saw so many businesses, they'll give out either more money, which they think will keep their employees and make them happy. And people will typically accept more money.
And as men who have been in corporate jobs like myself, I should be shooting for the next promotion, because that's going to fix everything, right?
And more money tends to come with
more problems.
Selling your soul to work the job all the time. Most people are mismanaging their money anyway. So if you give them more money, they'll mismanage that.
That's a great point right there. Yeah. That's a huge issue for everybody, guys. Like, if you already have the existing problems and you haven't addressed them, adding more money does literally create more problems unless you've found the root issue.
It really does. Or companies will give promotions. And a lot of times the promotion, what you enjoy doing, that promotion takes you out of that. So now you were great at this, and now you're a subpar at best manager or whatever title they give you.
I'm guilty of that. When I was years ago, when I was with T-Mobile, I worked my way up in the call center world. I was in that customer service type of environment. And then I was coaching and I was developing and I was managing, but we actually changed it to coaching and developing our 30-person teams. And then I said, oh, well, I need to get out of this environment. I got to change. I need more money. And I was like, oh, I went and got a corporate promotion to a business analyst. Well, now I don't manage anybody.
Right.
I went from like developing like 20, 30 people at a time year round to now I'm managing processes and methods and procedures. And for my analytical mindset, that worked for a little while. And then I realized that human interaction was not there.
That's not who you are. Given the fact that you're doing this, is not who you are. So my thing is to the companies, I said, listen, instead of impacting them that way and, really hurting your business, how about we impact your employees, your management, your staff? If you can do it at home, impact them at home, in their relationship, in their community, and at work with everything that You Evolving Now has to offer. Maybe you don't have to do that. And employees will be I tell managers and CEOs, have you ever tried to manage or lead someone that's in despair, having issues, going through a divorce? They're there, but they are a carcass of themselves. If we can impact them in those 4 areas of their life, it impacts your bottom line because they're happy to be at work. They're happy to work and all of those things and getting to know each other better in their lives and fulfilling dreams. So we have coaches and things like that. That's one of the things that we've done over the past year, implementing to You Evolving Now, bubbling under the surface. For our college division, we started a mentoring program. So our adult members of Men Evolving Now and Women Evolving Now can impact the college students as well. And it's just been an awesome experience. And then with the book, and from the book, I said, wow, okay, most people are not in a hurry to take care of themselves. So,
that's an interesting way of putting that. Not in a hurry to take care of themselves.
Yeah. So my screen just changed here.
I'm bringing up the site, man.
Oh, there you go.
I want my video peeps. You and I are very sexy gentlemen, but sometimes you got to change things up. I was like, let's get some screen share going on.
Well, I'm looking at this right here because bubbling under the surface, we have, I said, what do people really want to do? People love going on vacations, and people at their core really do want a great relationship. So how do you do both? With the 7 Ways to Love couples retreats coming up, we have our first one in November.
Actually, I have that already open here.
Oh, yeah.
Share that up. Boom.
Yeah.
7 Ways to Love right there.
Yep. The couples retreat. We are going to have a fantastic time and experience. Actually, if you go back to the home screen and just click 7 Ways to Love, that orange.
Yeah, right there under the main header.
Yep, and we have everything there. It's going to be a 3-day event. We're going to have it 4 times a year. The first one is November 3rd through the 5th, and we have it at local resorts. And
so you've already been planning and booking this before even the 7 Ways to Love book is coming out.
Yes, because I know this is something that is of value. People like doing, we're doing 15 couples at a time. Come evolve during the day. Learn the 7 Ways to Love. It's very interactive. We have a fantastic time. It's not therapy. We're not talking about these major issues in your relationship. We're teaching, hey, how to do these different things. We're talking about all of these different things because each of these things are going to strike a chord in you and in your partner and your relationship. We have some great homework assignments that you do. And then at the end of the day, enjoy everything that the resort has to offer. Just don't have such a good time you don't make the morning session, Right.
Yeah. And I love this, by the way, on day 2, right after breakfast, you dive right in because I'm all about the why. And you're right there. Welcome and your why.
Yeah.
Man, this comes up on probably 30% of my episodes, especially if I'm talking to like some of our regular psychologists who come on or something like that. It's like, guys, like, dude, your why is so important, whether it's fueling your finances or your business or your love life or whatever. Like, most of us have not taken the time to really define what that why is.
Absolutely.
Or leave it open-ended enough to grow and modify as your life goes. Like, they get stuck on the original why.
Right. Because it changes. It evolves. And my thing is, listen, I want this to be interactive. Yes, I know my 7 ways. Yes, we're going to talk about them. But I really want to know why you're here, what you want to get out of it. How do we start to tailor things to kind of fit what's great for us as that group of people for that weekend, and really just having a great time with each other. After the event, you sign up. You get 1-year membership to You Evolving Now. You get 2 follow-up sessions with me virtually over Zoom. You get a copy of the book, and you have a great experience for you to go home and tell people about and actually live. These 7 things are things become easier to do when you make it part of your daily agenda. You do things on a regular basis, watch your relationship improve.
And most people try and add that in too quickly, right? And that's the other good tip here is like what you're talking about, Andre, is like, yeah, let's add it into your daily lifestyle, but also trickle it in. Like, don't try and change everything at the same time and then expect, for example, I don't know everything about 7 ways to love yet, but I'm sure all 7 ways are not going to be implemented on day one. I mean,
and you know what?
Change takes time.
And change does take time. And what I would suggest, and this is what I've done as well, I can look at 7 ways to love and I say, okay, well, out of these categories or out of these 7, I'm going to do one of these things a day. I've given myself a month challenge one month. And it was really like for every day, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something. And to watch my wife's face light up at some of the things that I've done. And then, and this was not why I did it, but to watch her return some of those things to me, it just was like, it was so special because so many people want the attention. They want the love. They want a great relationship, but you're doing the same old thing and wondering why things aren't different.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of funny you bring that up because I joked around earlier about finally getting engaged. But what you just said, I wanted to kind of like bond with you on that point was people are like, oh, what made you finally do it? And I was like, I know this sounds weird, but a couple months before that happened, so I'd say 3-4 months back, I was on a business trip up in Boston area, and I was just driving the car. And then I have no idea why the idea of like, what if I finally did do this? And what would her reaction be? And I pictured her, you know, with like the most genuine, happy smile on her face that I've ever seen. And then when I did the actual engagement, oh, that came out. The photographs too. It's like I literally have. It's not going to show up very well on here, but I actually have like one of our photographs from that day on my background of my phone. So when I'm traveling, it's not going to show up very well, but that's awesome. That's her and I holding a glass of wine afterwards. But that's a very happy face. But when I actually asked her about, you know, an hour before that, it was like the shock, the glow. Yes. And to your point, I was not expecting what happened after that. Over the next following weeks, over the past month, it's been like, it just has changed the relationship. It Absolutely. Truly has. And I'm loving the next level. I'm just hoping it stays as nice as this, which is why we got to work at this, right? But it's like, it's so cool to see the return of that too. But that's not why I did. I didn't do it for the return. Right. I just wanted to see her happy. And it was a pretty happy face. I'll just say that.
That's awesome. And it's so... I love that that's a part of your screensaver because in the book, we also talk about, and I was a therapist for so many years. I guess I still am. You never stop being, but the importance of having those positive images and talking lovingly about your partner in the absence of their presence with other people and to yourself is so important because I see so many people. And if you ask most people how their day is, if you give them an opportunity, they're going to speak negatively about it's too hot, it's too cold, you know, my job is this. And then if long enough, they'll talking about their relationship. And you cannot go out and speak poorly or think poorly about your partner all day long and then come home and say, love me, or, hey, honey, I'm home and love them. It's not possible.
You've already broken the programming. That would like literally be like hitting the complete reset switch on a computer or something. It's like that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's so important to love your partner throughout the day in their absence. When you speak, how you speak to your friends is so important about how you will come home and show love and receive love.
We talk about mindset regularly on this show because it doesn't matter if you're a fitness enthusiast or I've had on obviously sports psychologists and all. I mean, I don't care who you are, like your mindset's everything. And we have a choice when you get up in the morning to before you go to bed at the night. It's like, what is your mindset that day? And yeah, life gets in the way and we might get bombarded and beat up and you're not going to have a great, all happy day. But also like when that bad thing happens, you have a choice. Do you want that to ruin the rest of your day?
Absolutely.
Or are you going to, take that next 30 minutes to 60 minutes and just deal with it?
Absolutely.
And then flip the mindset. It's like, all right, I want to make sure when I go home, I'm there for my lover. I'm there for my fiance, my wife, my husband, whatever it may be, my partner. And it's like, well, think about it. Like, what do they want you to come home like?
Right. If you were in their place at home and they came through the door looking distraught and just unhappy to be there or complaining, like yes, everybody's had a day, and I'm so glad you said that, Scott, because from You Evolving Now, everything that we offer, all of the videos that go out to our members and the books, look, our love and our relationship and our relationships are under attack. They're under attack with all of your have-tos of the day, your schedule, carting kids around, the busyness we all wear with this badge of honor of how busy we are and moving forward or being successful. And it's under attack, and we have to choose to be the soldiers that are going to fix this and win this war. Because if we don't, what is the alternative? Miserable, not happy,
living in misery.
Yeah.
Regretting not leaving. Oh, there's people who literally don't look forward to going home. Like, there's actually people who are so beat up that they don't want to. Sometimes they do care about their significant other and they don't want to bring that home.
Right.
So then people feel guilty about even going home. It's like, don't let that weigh on you like that.
And I could share so much of the book with you, but communication, we all know how important communication is. But sometimes for me, those heavy things and hard things, like, they can come up throughout the day. If you were running a successful business, you have meetings all the time.
Absolutely.
You have scheduled meetings all the time to talk about how to evolve. Hopefully, not discussing the problem or but what the problem is, and then spending more time on how to fix it. But we don't do that in our relationships unless we're in a fight.
I know, right? It's like, oh, we have to go talk to them now because you have to go schedule time with your counselor. Like, why should it get to that point?
Right. So, in 7 Ways to Love, we talk about so many things that we're just touching the surface on right now. And I'm just excited to make an impact in people's lives, in the lives of families, and in the lives of you and me. Like, it really is just an inspiring thing. We all know that we need it, we want it, we have to be willing to make time. Nobody's in this world is eager to give you more time or money. You have to make both.
Well, and obviously the book 7 Ways to Love, I'm guessing, is going to give people a little more insight into that piece of it, right? Like, trying to figure out the steps or the components or whatever it is that's going to help us love better. And again, let's clarify this. Your book and this theme of 7 Ways to Love, now granted, you're having a couples retreat, but would you say that this new book is just for couples?
No.
Let's go back to self-love, right?
Yeah. The 7 Ways to Love is obviously would apply for your significant other, but also every relationship that you have, including yourself, being able to do some of these things. Because I'm in the chapters with questions that are about you or about other people in your life or your partner, because it can't just be about fulfilling them, but also knowing you. And we talked about marrying yourself and getting you to know yourself. And bubbling under the surface, we're going to have the couples retreats. And I'm looking at them having them 2 times a year, but also want to have retreats where men and women,
like a men retreat, or
that just want to have. Hey, I want to know more about this. I want to meet people that are interested, like I am, and just coming out and having a good time and enjoying everything that life and the resorts have to offer. We have some great ones scheduled for the future. So I really want to make an impact and have people make an impact in me that are just, worldwide and from every phase. So I'm just excited, very excited.
Well, I'm excited for you, man, because like I said, we've been connected for a little while now, and we're both watching each other virtually in the online space. And that's why I was like, man, I can't wait to get you back on, because, yeah, obviously I want to see this book be even more successful than your Evolve book, which I also have. To our listeners, guys, get the Evolve book too. He's got that linked on the website. Start with phase 1 and go to phase 2. Because, yeah, you're still rocking the Evolve book on Amazon too, right?
Yeah, you can get it at Amazon.com,
yeah.
BarnesandNoble.com. I actually have a book signing at Barnes & Noble up here in the Wyomissing area, July 29th and
Nice.
30th between 1 and 3.
Well, and that's after the new launch, because the new launch is the 17th, right?
Yep, the
Okay.
17th. And then I'm there the 29th. And we're looking at doing like tri-state in Delaware, New Jersey. I'm doing some speaking engagements and just had one of my first growth hires, Scott. It's been great.
Growth hire.
Yeah, well, the first few hires were for functionality, and both are important. You need your business to function. And hiring facilitators for the colleges and the trainings and everything that we do. Just hired, and she starts the 24th. So I'm very excited as an event coordinator. So
Nice.
Being able to, for the speaking engagements, whether it's evolving in leadership, and I talk about leadership in a different aspect, learning how to lead yourself first. And then other leaders, being able to lead other people will follow.
I agree with that. You can't expect to lead others if you can't lead yourself.
If you can't lead yourself. And so many leadership things leave this out. They're teaching you how to be a leader, but your life could be a mess, So that's why I joke around
Tom, like you can't be a coach. I tell people all the time, a coach also needs to have their own coach. Mm-hmm. If you're supposed to be there developing and helping other people grow, you better still be doing that too, because eventually you're going to level out and you're not going to be growing anymore either.
Right. Because people recognize what's real. There's difference between managers and leaders. Mm-hmm. A manager tells you what to do. A leader inspires, and you want to do what they do because you see how they are.
Yes.
Not just what they're telling you. So it's a huge, huge difference. So that first comes with leading yourself. So, being able to do those speaking engagements and the 7 ways to love, and having an event coordinator now to be able to do those things is just fantastic. So if anybody,
I say you guys all did that under your own kind of minimal time freedom, right? You guys were doing that. You guys were doing that yourselves, right?
And you talked about being the ultimate family man. In the past 2 weeks, my house has been invaded. We have gotten a turtle, a teacup pig, and a fish.
Well, at least they're all small. They don't take up a lot of space.
Oh man, we were anti-pets forever. I'm 40 years old, and I've never had a pet. And then all of a sudden, well, as a kid, my parents had pets, but as an adult, I haven't had them. And then one day, my wife rescues a turtle. So it's fantastic. And then we talked about having a pet. And then her birthday is about a week away, and her parents said, "Oh, we're going to get you a pig." So okay, great. Then we drop our sons off at the fireworks. I go to get in the car. I go to pick him up. He's got 2 basketballs and a goldfish under his arm. I said, "Where'd you get that from?" He said, "I wanted playing basketball." So our family has just exploded over the past 2 weeks.
You can win fish playing basketball. Basketball. That's something new.
He's practicing left-hand shots. He's now ambidextrous at his jump shot, so he's pretty good.
That is something I played basketball when I was a kid, and I can never figure that one out. I'm a hardcore lefty, so I break my left arm, man. I'm a mess.
Yeah, the kids, I tell you, they're phenomenal. What they've been able to accomplish in their sports and everything, I couldn't be more proud.
And how old is your gang now?
My daughter's 17, my son is 14, and my other son is 9.
Wow.
And then, of course, now all of the pets as well. So it's been, I tell you, I do understand when people say they're busy. I honestly do. I get it. Because the first person who comes up with an Uber specifically for kids and ties them into a school district, anybody business mind out there, if you can do that, you'll be a billionaire within a night.
I think you and I have had that conversation before or somebody else has, because that has come up before.
My goodness.
They want the child safe Uber. It's basically like your school bus service readily available.
Their schedule is killing me. So I do understand people's busyness, but I'll tell you guys, everybody, at some point you're going to have to make a decision to be better, not just busy, because busy's not going to cut it for you being who you want to be.
It goes back to your point earlier in today's meeting, with today, it's like, guys, like we're always going to be busy.
Yeah.
All right. It's like people like, oh, what do you got going this week? I'm like, oh, I'm pretty busy. I was like, I got the Spartan race on Saturday. And then I went and do my normal, Sunday hero wad. And then I decided spontaneously last night, go out and do a mountain bike ride too. Like it's been a very fit weekend. So yeah, I was busy, but I also in between needed to make sure that I was making time for myself and my girl and making sure that it's not just all adrenaline junkie stuff. Hey, I had to prepare for this week. I was literally on my computer until 11 o'clock last night. I broke my sleep rule. I want to be, quickly tip for listeners, your sleeping does matter. But I'm busy, But the point is, like, okay, how are you going to create balance?
And
you're always going to be busy.
Exactly, because I tell people, you're busy. So what? You and everybody else in the world, whether your busyness is being a CEO or elbow deep in a bag of chips, people are busy doing what they want to do. And at some point, you're either going to choose to be better or just busy.
Yeah, I like that. Oh, and real quick, you know what? I'm going to do this for you. I brought this up just because I'm trying to be more transparent with my life. And I wanted to share this with you because you're an impactful person in my life. So that's the face that I was telling you about that I wanted to see.
Nice.
Like that reaction from her was just, this is one of my favorite photos because it's just, I've never seen her do that either. Right. So, and for our listeners, I'm sharing on the video one of the still photos from the winery after I had just got done proposing to my girl, and it was just her hands in front of her face, and she's in complete shock. That's just one of our friends behind us. They're like, "What? What is Scott doing? Like Scott doesn't do this." So I just thought to throw that out there just to create some balance, making some time because normally the podcast I never bring her up, and she doesn't like me talking about her on the podcast. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, baby, you're a part of my life. So anybody who's known me for a long time doesn't hear me talk like that.
Oh man, I have a screensaver of my wife when she calls, and it's us on vacation, and my wife is type A and just going forward all the time. I absolutely love it. The amount of things that she can accomplish in a day is impeccable. But we're on vacation. And she's just relaxed out. She got the peace signs up. She's, so when she calls, I see that and I'm like, wow, like, you just fall in love all over again. And it reminds you what what life is all about.
Well, it goes back to that tip you just mentioned earlier to our listeners. Like, you don't have to even get the book yet, but he already gave you a great tip. Like, I never in my life ever had a picture of a girl on my phone. I've never done that. Mm-hmm. But after this experience and after the happiness that I had that day giving her the ring, I was like, you know what? I travel a lot on business. So now I was like, if I hit my phone, my button on the iPhone, that's the first thing that comes up. I haven't even unlocked the phone, but she's right there and I'm right there in the photo. And it's like, okay, so when I'm busy and if I realize, literally this happens to me all the time. Phone locks up, I hit the button, I'm driving Bluetooth down the highway and I haven't texted her today. Or I haven't at least sent her a thought that I'm thinking of her or something like that. It could be something as simple as these stupid little emojis now. You can send like a kissy face thing.
Right.
I freaking send that crap now.
Hey,
I was like, oh man, I'm that guy.
You make love throughout the day. You make love throughout the day with those things. And one of the chapters in my book is Seize the House. And it's amazing. The 3 C's to seize your house and have that relationship of your dreams because it's
seize
so
your house.
important.
I like that one.
Yeah,
that's it. We talk about all the time about carpe diem, right? Like seize the day, seize the house. I like that.
That's your fortress. It's your king and queendom. And if you're not right there, it's hard to be right anywhere else. You want to be able to come home and do that. And there's ways to do that are still important. Yes, you're busy or you got small kids and all of that. It's going to take effort. But if you want to do it, you will do it.
Well, you're right about the whole fortress thing because that goes back to your earlier point in the call today about we were talking about faith, right? And it's like people, if you actually study history, because I try and be a history buff when I have the time and I make the time, and it's like, hey man, like why were churches built? Churches were built to create a safe haven or a safe place for people to go and just work on their faith or be in a safe environment. That's what, if you really look at some of the history behind those types of structures. So it's like you could create some of that same safety in your own fortress, in your own home. So like you said, seize your home, I get it, man. It totally connects through.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, this has been a powerful morning. I want to make sure if you can remember back to October, because it's been a while since you've been on, but all of our co-hosts get the final words, and a man of your stature and your background and the exciting new book coming out and the retreat for couples, you got a lot going on, but I know you're going to give us some powerful final words that our listeners can remember and kind of take away from today and come back, because this is digital audio content. You can listen to it again and come back and listen to it again. So what do you got for us today, man?
Oh, wow. Well, actually, I just put out a quote today, so I'll leave you guys with that. Live to honor those who have come before you and to build for those who will come after you.
Oh, very nice.
That's there's people who have come before you that have done a lot to sacrifice for you. So make sure that you're doing your best to honor them. And there's people who will come after you, whether it's your kids, family members, strangers. Do something to build. Like, men and women build, boys and girls destroy. So constantly be building up the people around you, especially your significant other, your kids, a stranger. It is so much power in you building them with intent. So that's my final words for the day.
Well, thank you, man. Well, hang tight. I'm going to give you a proper goodbye. I want to close the show out, and then we'll say goodbye on the actual video. So real quick, guys, that was Andre Young of You Evolving Now. And just for our video watchers, I'll share it once again. Please go check out youevolvingnow.com. Check out the new book coming out, 7 Ways to Love. And yes, he's got the couples retreat coming up. You can get that on the website as well. This episode is airing Friday. So literally, when this episode airs, his book is being released that Monday. So that means you got to put it on your wish list. Okay, guys? Stalk him a little bit, stalk the website, stalk him on Facebook. I'll have everything linked in the show notes like we always do. I make sure you can stalk all of our co-hosts virtually online as much as possible. So again, thanks again to Andre coming out today. Guys, check out 7 Ways to Love. Check out youevolvingnow.com. This is what we're all about, guys. Keep living a fired up epic life. We'll talk to you guys again soon. And you're clear of the audio.
All right.
Well, thank you, man. It's been fun.
Scott, that's awesome, man. You do such a fantastic job. You are made for doing this.
It's gotten easier. Again, putting in the reps, right? Like the audio stuff comes, the working the microphone thing. It's like, all right. I mean, now you'll be episode 92.
Look at you, because I see you all the time. I'm like, wow, that's great. And what I have found too, doing the videos and everything, now it's just me. Right. You know, it's not a lot of preparation. I'm sure you could just wake up, put this on, and with anyone, just start speaking.
Exactly.
Just start speaking, and it's just become who you are, a part of who you are. So it's not, it's fun. It's fun. You do a fantastic.
And that's the point. Like, and now it's funny. Like I like going out and speaking. Yeah. Well, I'm now I actually launched a new Facebook page just called Scott Mulvaney -speaker as a public figure page, because I have some people who are following me and Live the Fuel, but now the speaking thing is separate because I might not even talk about Live the Fuel. And we talked about this from a marketing and a branding perspective. Like you grow You Evolving Now, and the name Andre Young comes with it, right? Right. And you're building something bigger than yourself. So Live the Fuel is for that. But now I'm getting some name recognition out of that, and I've already spoken at 2 other events this year. So it's and I'm speaking at another event coming up in about another month or so. So it's well, let me create another place for people to go, because I can't friend everybody. Right. So it's hey, great. If they happen to see my name, great. Now they can find me. So it's interesting how this stuff is happening. I'm laying the groundwork, because eventually I would love to add that into my business infrastructure as far as traveling around and doing public speaking. And
I told my wife, I sat down and said, listen, where do I really want this to be? I want to do 3 speaking engagements a month and 4 to 5 couples retreats a year. That's
aggressive.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do. You know, and then if I slip in something here or there, or do therapy again, because I would do therapy 2 days a week. Why not?
Sure. But then you're not doing it out of necessity.
Right.
You're doing it out of inspiration, because everything else you've built is handling it financially.
Right.
And you're creating the time freedom.
That corporation part is a great idea and needed. No corporation wants to pay out of pocket for it.
No.
So I said, okay, I've developed it. It's there. But this is what people want. They want speakers. They want a one-day thing. They think it creates magic. I don't know why, but okay.
Events are powerful.
Yeah,
I can't explain it either. Like when I go away to events, it's you're high on life. But I teach people, I'm like, guys, you're going to have a crashing down curve of energy after that event. You need
and that's
to be.
What I tried to do.
You got to be on a system.
Yeah, with the corporate thing, we would be there all the time. They didn't want it. They are really stuck on this one day or
you know what?
Event.
They're the consumer. Give them what they want.
Give them what they want.
But then have that there. It's listen, when you're ready to finally see beyond the one day thing, I've already built it.
And that's what I had to scale back and say, okay, this is what I know you need, but you're not ready. So now let me give you what you want and what you're used to paying for, which is the speaking engagements and couples retreats. And now there's more after you see that.
And that's hard for all of us. It's funny because like in business, it's like, oh man, I know this. I mean, people start building these amazing like sales training platforms and everything else. It's like, yeah, but did you at least check and see if your customers want it?
Right.
Because then they just get frustrated because they spent 6 months building this system.
Yep.
And nobody wants it. And then they're like, what the hell? I'm like, well,
that was me.
Yeah, I own that.
I created it. Sounded great. It is great. But I didn't know that people didn't want to pay for it.
And in the end, you still learn something from the process. And you still now have some tools and infrastructure that you can actually morph into something else later or still launch it later when they are ready, right? Yep. It's just that you might be that forward thinking. You're planning.
Yeah. You have to kill them slow. So once they see what we're offering, once they hear you speak or hear me speak, they want more. Well, now you have more. You don't have to go create it. It's already there.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. I'm so happy for you, man. Like
you as well, man. This is good. So
I told you, I do want to spend a week with Scott Mulvaney. Your life is freaking epic, man.
I don't know. I get bored. People are like, what were you doing this week? And I'm like, I don't know, Spartan race, there's stuff like, really? Like, why? I'm like, because I can. I was like, that's the life. This is what I want. This is what I'm building. Right. Like my girl and I already talked about this. Like we're not going to have a traditional wedding. We literally are probably going to get married by jumping out of a helicopter on a mountaintop in like Alaska, do the stupid little ring thing, and then go skiing. Like right off the top of the mountain. Like that's what we want to do is go heli skiing for the ceremony. I don't want to spend 20 grand or whatever it is on a silly wedding where I'm, doing that stuff. Like we'll come back, we'll have a nice little party or something like that. Right. But I'm like, why would I spend all that hard-earned money on a one thing? It's just, that's just who I am. Like I want to spend that on adventure and trips and like epic memories. And the cool thing is she gets it and her mom gets it, which I'm like, whoa. Oh, I was like,
you won.
I think I picked a good one.
You won. I want to invite to this party, Scott.
Oh, it's going to happen. Don't worry about that. So I mean, whether I like it or not, like I'll get the ski trip and she's like, oh, there's still going to be an after party. And I'm like, all right, I don't know. I guess you got to at least take care of your friends and your family. So I get it. So it'll be interesting. We'll see what happens. So, but thank you for coming back, man. I'm glad I can help you hopefully get a little more exposure for the book launch. And obviously this is now creating 2 forms of content for you. You now have something audio to share and the video content to share. So it's been awesome.
Thank you. So it's going to air this Friday?
Yeah. I'm bumping you right to the top.
Perfect timing.
I believe in pre-launch. So it's like you've already got content out there. So when the book does launch, there's already some stuff happening in the Google world as far as the SEO, right? Because there's now web content already been published. And then that way there's already some momentum starting. And then once the book's out and Amazon clicks on it and blah, 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 then like the Google world starts getting cohesive. It's like, oh, there's blog content on it and there's video content in the YouTube world and there's Amazon, and then they'll all start overlapping. So
sounds good. Thanks for the opportunity, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So the only thing I'm going to need from you then is I'll have to probably go back and edit your blog content after the book launch, because you're not going to have a direct book link before the launch, right? Or will you?
Before the launch,
does Amazon give you a book link or no?
What I would prefer, because they can get it on Amazon.
Or do you want to drive it through your site?
Go through the site. I get more royalties through the site.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and really, that's how I look at it too. You should always drive traffic through your home base, your headquarters.
I get 50% through the site.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay.
Not bad at all.
So then, and you already have.
All they got to click where the book is on the site. All they got to do is click there.
Okay.
And they can buy it right from there.
So are you gonna hyperlink, like when you're on the home page and you scroll down, there's the image. Well, that's the couples retreat though. Okay, all the way down there's the book, and you have the buy it now already in place. Okay. Yep. Cool. So, all right. Well, perfect. Then we'll just is that buy it now? Oh, that links over to like store book baby. Okay. So I can actually, well, if I use that link from the buy it now button for the book,
works.
That gives you your full royalty connection.
Yeah.
Good. I just want to make sure, because I'll save all these hyperlinks then today. And that way, when we get the stuff published up, everything will be embedded. Cool. All right, sir.
All right, Scott. Hey, have a great week, man. Congrats on the engagement and everything, too.
Well, hey, sooner or later, I got to grow, too, I guess. I have to evolve with you.
It's in progress.
It's in progress. It always is. Well, hey, have a great day. And congrats again on the book launch. I'm excited for you. And like I said, stay tuned for Friday when this pumps out. I'll do my normal thing. It'll blast over Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and everything else. So
awesome. Sounds good, Scott. Thanks so much. Have a good day.
All right. Enjoy the day.
All right.